All right, good evening. Thank you for joining us. So this info session was actually presented or brought to us at TEECS by Mrs. Desai. She's one of our parents, and you'll get to hear from her as well as her daughter as far as their experience and a few other students who are here as well to share their experience. And this presentation is being recorded. So just, full disclosure. And at this time, I will turn it over to Matt.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nard, Mr. Desai, the entire Thomas Edison EnergySmart Charter community. Thanks for having us tonight. We really appreciate it. Again, my name is Matt DeSantis, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Jada Hendrickson, Jared Cannon, and Leah Desai, along with my co-founder, Kelly Nagel, and Teen Think Tank Project teammate, Bernadette Sheehan, to chat a little bit about the Teen Think Tank Project. By show of hands, let's just check, thumbs up, hands up, if everyone is here tonight to hear about the Teen Think Tank Project, a organization who empowers teens. Okay, very good. All right, excellent. Looks like everybody is in the same place, is in the right place, which is good, because last week we gave this presentation, but I accidentally ended up in a discussion group for the Squid Game, and I had no idea what that was all about, and I got very confused. But since we're going to be talking about a organization that provides research, communication, decision-making, and lifelong leadership skills to teens, I am highly qualified to participate in that discussion. So I thank you for being here tonight. Let's talk a little bit about what we plan on achieving, how we plan on achieving that. I'm going to spend a few minutes welcoming everyone. I've basically gotten through all my jokes. I've gotten through the roster of Teen Think Tank participants and team members. So I'm going to hand it over shortly to my colleagues, Jada, Jared, Leah, Aisha, Kelly, who will help us determine what the Teen Think Tank is all about, what we do, how we do it, and why it's important for teens who are looking to have a voice in the world that they'll inherit. Spend about a half an hour, 40 minutes doing that, then we'll open it up for questions. We'll cover any issues, ideas, thoughts that you may have. We'll conquer a few next steps and discussion items that you feel are pertinent, and then we'll be on our way. So if that sounds like a good use of our time together, let's dive right in. Before we do that, if you have the opportunity to mute your mic, I'd ask you to do that now. We're going to be having a few different people chatting. So in order to eliminate some of the interference and crosstalk, that would certainly help our presenters. Conversely, if you have the ability to do so, I ask that you would turn your camera on. If it's safe and convenient, I'd ask you to do that. It helps us create a more interactive dialogue. If you are driving home from work or at basketball practice or blowing off some other type of assignment that you don't want to be known, by all means, feel free to keep your cameras off, but it would help us connect with you if you were able to turn your cameras on. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. We have two choices here. I can spend the next 40 minutes telling you how this program was developed, why it was developed, and the roles that each of our team members have played. Or I can show you a 2-minute video that will encapsulate all that we're about. And trust me, if you've ever heard me talk at length, you want to watch the 2-minute version of this story. So we're going to dive right in. If your sound is down, please make sure that that is up, because you will not want to miss Teen Think Tank Project in 2 minutes.
Honestly, I really just want to make people's lives better.
I'm generally a very curious and open-minded person, and I have a passion for kind of just making others feel heard and seen, and making sure everyone's voices are heard.
Being able to educate more people in like my community, at least, because I know there's so many people out there on the internet. There's already so many things that other people, other organizations have collected and put out there. But I want to see if we as like a group can put something together that contributes to that, contributes to our own community specifically, and is able to make some sort of change to fix the problems that we're looking at.
Don't accept no. Like in your careers, wherever that path takes you, just don't accept no, the first no. Because if you're going to be an agent of change, you're going to get it a lot. You're going to get it a lot.
I'm at a point in which who you are is so much more important as what you have done. And I think I love being introduced as someone who first and foremost a force for good in my everyday life, and not just a list of accomplishments that at the end of the day are not as important.
Being a teenager in this day and age, I feel as if many people don't take you seriously. The Teen Think Tank Project has actually given me the voice I needed. By talking to other people around the country who have the same passions as me and allowing me to actually do something about the societal issues and actually trying to solve them, it just opened my eyes to what we as teenagers can do to actually help solve these problems.
By show of hands, who got a pretty good idea of what the Teen Think Tank Project's all about? Who we are, what we do, why we do it, and who we do it with. Okay, let's leave those hands up, because we're going to do a little put a finger down challenge. For those of you who are not currently on cameras based on the honor system, so I'm going to assume that your hand's up, and I'm assuming that you're playing along. Put a finger down if that video made you want to go out and do something. I mean, anything. Change the world, connect with other teens, jump off of rocks with Pranav. All right, very good. Put a finger down if you think that our society is kind of a mess with issues like climate change, racial inequality, and poverty. All right, put a finger down if you think that adults are responsible for the issues that society is dealing with, like climate change, racial inequality, and poverty. Okay. Put a finger down if you're a little worried that you're going to inherit these problems when you get older. Like they're not going away. They're going to be there when you're 20. And they're going to be there when you're 30. They're going to be there when you're well into your adult life. And put a finger down if you feel like you want to help solve these problems, but as teens, few adults are listening to you and taking your thoughts seriously. I'm an adult, and few adults take my thoughts seriously. I can only imagine what it's like to be a teen living in this society that you did not create. There are no problems that we are living with today that are less than 17 years old. So I can pretty safely say that you as a teen were born into these problems. And I can pretty safely say that you have an idea on how we got here and how we're going to fix them. But Teen Think Tank Project is not merely about identifying issues. It's not merely about discussing societal problems. It's not merely about creating a current events message board. It's about putting together a team that can look at where we exist as a society and where we want to go, and use replicable problem-solving techniques to get from where we are to where we want to be. And that team we put together are teens, which is pretty advantageous for us considering we already own the domain Teen Think Tank Project. So if we were going to do it with somebody else, it would make our name a little silly. But luckily, we found some high achieving, exceptional teens who are up for the challenge. And rather than me explain how great they are and how much work they have done to make this society a better place, to make them better students, to make them better professionals, I'm going to let them do so. And to do that, I've invited three of our alumni here tonight, Jada Hendrickson, Jared Cannon, and Leah Desai. So without further ado, I'd like to have these individuals talk to you about what the Teen Think Tank is and what their experience with our program has led them to.
So I guess I'll go ahead and start, and Leah and Jared, feel free to jump in at any time. But again, I'm Jada Hendrickson, and I'm so honored to be with you guys. So I have a few bullet points just to capture the Teen Think Tank and all its amazingness. I didn't want to miss anything. So first, I want to start with what's the purpose of the Teen Think Tank Project? So the purpose of the Teen Think Tank Project is to empower teenagers by not only giving them a voice, but the tools and resources they need to flourish and make a positive impact in society. Resources including podcasts, books. I remember for our cohort, we used the book Evicted, amazing book, must read. Oh, someone's saying something? No? Okay. Reports. I remember one time we had a Harvard report that was really impactful in our research. And then we also had several amazing practitioners that related to our subject matter come in and talk with us. We were also always well equipped with information to pursue our topic while gaining accurate knowledge. As an alum of this program, I could definitely say that the Teen Think Tank stays true to its mission. Almost every meeting is student-led. Instead of Matt or Kelly just constantly feeding us information on what they think is important to a topic, they allow us to come to conclusions on our own while allowing us to collaborate with our peers to analyze each other's thinking to reach a consensus. And sometimes we don't always reach a consensus, which is okay. So, what does the Teen Think Tank Project do? Other than preparing teens to become active agents of change in their communities, TTP also prepares the cohort members with professional, academic, and personal growth that many may not have access to until college or later on in their careers. Stay tuned as Jared dives a little deeper into how he grew in these areas because of the Teen Think Tank Project. So finally, well, not finally, but how does the Teen Think Tank Project work? So for me, this program was mostly conducted online using virtual platforms. So we use Zoom and Google Classroom a lot, which is nice. So I had the opportunity to work with 11 other amazing cohort members, Leah being one of them, as we began our quest to discover the roots caused by financial instability. So something that I personally really enjoyed about this program was the fact that we didn't dive right into the material, but instead the first few weeks we worked on building skills that would enable us to work smoothly as a team. So one of our first assignments was creating a LinkedIn, and when I saw it pop up in Google Classroom, I was like, okay, this is gonna carry me for the rest of my life. So we created a LinkedIn to keep track of all our professional connections. Those connections I still have with me today. And then afterwards, we self-identified our individual roles in a team setting. And then we actually had a communications professional, Connie Whitman, come in and analyze how she thinks we would fit in a team setting based on our communication styles. We also had a professional, Bruce Waltuck, come in and help us understand the ways to engage in efficient decision-making. And lastly, we had Kelly Nagel, who is here today, to talk to us about the proper way to research and formulate a paper, which would end up being one of our products of this program. So after cultivating all those amazing skills, we needed to make this a successful research cohort, we started focusing on our topic. So my topic, different than Jared's, was financial instability. So we divided that into several factors, and based on those factors, we grouped ourselves accordingly. So we had legal impediments, societal impediments, economic impediments. We focused mainly on those three. And then after examining each impediment in subgroups, we would formulate a research question with the hopes of making one overarching question after examining all the impediments. By breaking it up in the way that we did, it made things so much easier in the long run. Because at first, when you think about financial instability, it can like feel a little overwhelming because you don't know where to start. So when we had everything laid out, it was so much easier and we were so much more productive that way. We already had all of the information. We just had to find a way to make a connection between all those different factors. So that's just kind of an overview of our research project, of our research process, and how we organized and gather our information as a group. But outside of our regular meetings, the cohort members and I put in the work to do research on our own and discuss what we found with each other and how it could apply to our subject matter. So one of the last things that I want to discuss, which is a super important aspect, is our revenue sharing agreement. So after absorbing all of the information we gathered, we had to make something that would show what we learned and how we were going to use what we learned to impact our communities in a positive way. This was in the form of a research paper, an individual one and a group one, talking head videos, and a website and merchandise that are in progress. So all of those forms of content are bound to generate some sort of revenue when published. So as a group, we had to decide how we would share that revenue amongst ourselves. That was definitely a worthwhile experience for me, and I bet the decision-making skills we learned prior were able to come into play when making this decision. So lastly, I want to talk about what's after the Teen Think Tank project. What's next? So after finishing this program, it's important that you know your journey as an agent of change is just beginning. Start applying the skills you've learned and see how you can use them to impact members of your school or overall community. Continue to work with the Teen Think Tank project in producing content to bring awareness to social justice issues. Stay in contact with your group. This is really important. Stay in contact with your group and work on the legacy that you will leave after participating in this program. And finally, do your best to inspire others and continue to work on making a change in this world. So that was just kind of my overview of the program and how I feel about the Teen Think Tank project. So I'm going to pass it to Jared to kind of give a little bit more. Are you on mute?
All right, thank you, Jada, for talking about everything with what you thought about the program and how it operates. There's nothing more I can really add. You summed it up perfectly. The only things I would change would be the parts about your specific cohort. Mine was different. We had a slightly smaller cohort of 9 people, and our topic was focused on racial equality and racial injustice issues. So that would be the only thing I would really change. But overall, yeah, really great job summing that up. So now that you have a taste of what the Teen Think Tank project does as a whole and how it operates, I wanted to talk about what the Teen Think Tank project means to me and my academic, personal, and professional development, and then what I've taken outside of it and how it's helped me move forward in life. So for academic development, one of the very important things now that I'm getting ready to go off to college, I'm a senior in high school, is learning how to do real academic research. I feel in schools, they tell you to write a research paper and put it in MLA format, and you're not really given any feedback on it, besides the grade that you get at the end, and it's okay, let's move on to the next topic. Here at the Teen Think Tank project, they really drilled that into our heads. They taught us what sources were credible, what sources were not, how you conduct real research, the tedious process that is editing your research paper. I think I must have spent hours editing that paper, making sure that it was perfect, but it was all worth it in the end. So that was one of the very big things, and it's actually helped me in life, which now that I'm going off to college will help me later on, but I'm taking dual enrollment classes at a local college, and I was just recently working on a research paper, and my professor said, has anybody written like an actual research paper? And it was kind of cool to be in a class with people who are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and even seniors in college who didn't raise their hand. But I was the senior in high school who raised their hand because I wrote a real research paper. So I thought that was really unique, and it gave me something that the other students didn't have. So that was definitely a leg up in the academic world. Something else that's very important with the academic side of this, and also the professional, is that joining the Teen Think Tank Project will definitely help you later in life with all the connections that you form. Like Jada mentioned earlier, Miss Connie Whitman, she also spoke with my cohort, and I'm still in contact with her today via LinkedIn. And I recently just celebrated my 2.5-year anniversary at my job, and it sent her a notification, and I got a message back from her that said, "Congratulations on all your hard work." So just stuff like that, seeing big business executives like Miss Connie Whitman reaching out to somebody who's a senior in high school, I think something like that's really valuable, and something that has definitely helped me get through everything, because high school is stressful. So having people who are encouraging me and saying, "Hey, look at what you're doing a great job, keep it up," is just motivation. Also, with the academic development, the Teen Think Tank definitely will bolster a resume. This is a completely unique, one-of-a-kind opportunity. There is no other opportunity like it out there in the world that I know of. When this first came and I heard about it, I knew immediately I had to do it. No other teen besides the teens involved in this would be able to put this on their resume. They also can't say that they wrote a research paper. They also can't say, and this is now for my specific cohort, that they're working to write a children's book. They can't say that they took this prior research knowledge about such a current event issue and how they're applying it. It completely sets them apart from their peers and elevates them to a higher standard. So this is definitely something worthwhile for the academics. And then now on to the personal development. I already kind of touched on this, but because of the Teen Think Tank Project, I'm more motivated in school, and I'm definitely more confident in myself. Ironically, I do the performing arts at my high school, so everybody would assume that I'm very outgoing and extroverted, but I'm more introverted than most people would think. I'm more of an ambivert. But this has definitely given me the confidence to express myself a lot. I don't keep my thoughts to myself anymore, which I do at sometimes because I know my boundaries. But because of this, I'm able to speak out about issues and speak my mind so that my voice can be heard. And the Teen Think Tank definitely helped me with that. If I wasn't a part of this, my ideas and my thoughts wouldn't be contributed to bigger conversations, like a conversation about racial inequality. Before this, there was no way that I would have been able to contribute in a positive way to a conversation like that. And now I'm able to maintain that conversation and keep it going. What else? I feel that because of this, I'm a better member in society. Learning about, for my cohort, was racial inequality. I keep mentioning that, but the racial inequality, I feel I'm a better member of society now because I've learned about it, because obviously there are differences between everybody in society. Nobody's the same. So now I feel I was able to learn about a different perspective of society, and now I'm a better member of society because of it. I can understand where certain people are coming from on different issues, and we can try and reach an agreement together. And I think that was definitely something that the Teen Think Tank helped me achieve, and I've already been able to have those conversations. And then professional development, I already started to talk about this with my connections with Tom Leatherberry, who is a very influential speaker in my cohort, Pat Florio, who is a publisher, who has a publishing company. We've been working very close with her, me and my fellow cohort members, about getting our book published once it's finished. And then, like I mentioned before, Miss Connie Whitman, who was very influential early on in making us a unified cohort. And then somebody else who was very unique who we talked to on the professional level was Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, who was a former NBA basketball player. So not many people can say that they had an hour-and-a-half long conversation with somebody as influential as he is, who's been named the predecessor to Colin Kaepernick. So something like that definitely sets you apart, but that's also that professional connection that you've made with someone. And it's a very unique opportunity. And then what I started to talk about earlier on the academic side was that now with my professional development, I have a formal policy paper about racial inequality and moving forward with that. So I have something that's tangible that people can read, and I can take that with me further in life. And then what have I taken outside of the teen think tank was the next big point that I wanted to talk about. So at my cohort's launch party where we presented all of our findings and information, I invited the administration of my high school to attend because I thought it was important that they would hear what was said from teens who most of us actually attend the same high school. So we all spoke about our findings. And because of that, our high school now offers an African American Studies and Civil Rights class, which they had never offered before. So because of our work, they offered a whole new class, which was something that completely changed our education at our high school. What else? I already mentioned the children's book that I'm co-writing with a few former cohort members. So that's something that we've been working on outside of this. I never thought in a million years that I would be the one to write a children's book, especially about racial injustice. And I'm very proud and honored to say that now I am doing it. My true passions lie in science and medicine, but because of the Teen Think Tank project, it opened me up to so many different other avenues in life. And now I feel that I am an agent of change in all societies and all different walks of life, like racial injustice. I never thought I would be the one to get involved in that. And now I feel like I can be an informant for other people to help them learn about it. And this children's book that we're working on is going to help us do that, which was a major thing outside of this to push forward. And then so the last part is the next steps in life from the Teen Think Tank project. One thing that definitely inspired me as I get older, I'm not yet 18, so I can't vote, but once I turn 18, I would like to register to vote because the Teen Think Tank project showed me that it's very important for the youth to be heard. So I wanted to share that, how I feel motivated to do that later on in life, because the teens, we are the next generation. Our time is now, and pretty soon we're going to be the ones in office. We're going to be the ones controlling everything in the world. So it's important now if we're able to have a voice so people can hear us, and then the world won't come crashing down. We can help build the world back up. And then once I do get to college after I finish high school, I can take what I've learned from the Teen Think Tank project and help make that community better, which is very important because, like I said, the world is always changing. There's more issues that come about in the world, and I feel the Teen Think Tank project has inspired me to want to make the world a better place and ultimately become an agent of change and inspire others to be agents of change. So that about wraps up everything that I've taken from the Teen Think Tank project. So I'm going to turn it over to Leah if she has anything she would like to add.
Thank you, Jared. Hi, everyone. My name is Leah, and I was part of the financial stability cohort along with Jada this past summer. So this cohort was made up of 11 socially conscious individuals who strive not only to inspire change, but implement it within our society and make everyone as socially conscious as we are. So throughout the entirety of our sessions, we'd often work together to further our progress by splitting ourselves into groups to study and analyze texts, disseminate between different impediments, like Jada said, the societal, legal, and economic, and overall work to help America escape the grip poverty has on society. So one of the things that stood out to me right from the beginning, Matt is very well aware of this, but was the amount of team building we did, as in getting to know our fellow research associates and becoming familiar in order to maximize our working strategies. For example, we started with the Belbin team role assessments and communication style assessments in order to really grasp what our communication styles are like and be able to work efficiently based on our preferences. So originally, I was a little unsure about doing this because I have taken very prominent and promising personality quizzes before, and I always put whatever I thought I would like to be versus what I am. But the Belbin team role assessment and communication style assessments have really helped me sort of dumb down what my communication style is like and how I can work efficiently with other people. So similarly, another admirable thing we did was meet with professionals. Again, Jada touched on this, dealing with financial instability in housing, and get their perspectives on how we as teenagers can ideally apply our ideas to the reality we live in now, as well as also presenting their own perspectives of these issues. So we've talked to Donna Gallup, like Jared and both Jared and Jada said, Connie Whitman, she was extremely influential. And we kind of talked to them about how they dealt with certain issues that a lot of people haven't touched on. And you might be thinking as a young adult and as an adult, how much can we do if we truly want to make a difference? I myself was unsure at first. However, the idea of influencing and inspiring change within our small communities motivated me to solve these real problems with people who had the same real ideas as I do. I didn't want to live in a sugar-coated bubble when I knew how much turmoil over half the world goes through, and through this, how much I could actually implement change. These issues have only significantly increased since the pandemic. In the present day, the impact of the pandemic only served to worsen poverty and homelessness within the country. As a cohort, we researched and delegated ways to assist in the deflation of these issues, and it was important to us that we got feedback from mentors and higher officials in order for us to learn from our mistakes. And if you guys want to look at the other cohorts, like Jared, I know you were part of the racial inequality one, and Jada was part of my financial stability one. There are also health equity, racial inequality, and more, all of which you can find on the website along with their own cohort pages. Thank you.
Leah, thank you very much. We'll just take a quick pause there. Let everybody gather their thoughts. We are going to have a question and answer in a few minutes, but there's a lot of information there. So if you've got a question burning a hole in your pocket and you would like to get that out, please feel free to either use the chat, raise your hand, or just unmute your microphone and ask your question. Okay, cool. We are on the right track. I was at a college reunion weekend this past weekend, and all of my friends have teenagers and teenage and college age children, and we were kind of talking about what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And they said, man, how do you spend all of your time trying to communicate with teenagers, especially about social justice issues that are not only heavy, but happening in real time? And I said to them, if you met the teenagers that I get to work with on a daily basis, you would not be asking me that question. You'd be asking me, how do you adopt those teenage children into your family so you can have those conversations? And they got the point. They understood it. These are not your average teens. These are not my college roommate's 16-year-old son or 15-year-old daughter. These are exceptional teens who knew exactly what they were signing up for, had an opportunity and seized that opportunity and took advantage of every single minute of that opportunity. I'm just a dude with a Zoom account. I'm just a guy who has a Google Classroom that is available to him. I'm just a guy who has friends like Kelly and Tom Leatherberry and made connections with Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. And we're just facilitators in this conversation. We're not instructors, we're not teachers, we're colleagues, we're coworkers. And it's because of Jada and Jared and Leah and their perspectives on not only this subject matter, not only this project, but on life, that makes it possible for us to do what we do and for our organization to exist. But they're not the only ones who make it possible for us to exist. And we do put a premium on teen voices. That's what we are all about. but we also care what parents say, because let's face it, without the help of our adult support system, we're not going to get very far, whether you are a high achieving teenager or a middle-aged adult male. Your network of adults, your family, your parents in particular, are the individuals that you can lean on to achieve great things. So I'd like to get a perspective of one of those parents. And Ms. Aisha Desai has been a friend of our program long before she was a parent of an alumni of our program. So she has the ability to speak from both sides of the room, or both sides of the equation, if you will. So I'm going to invite her to put on either hat and talk a little bit about being involved in the Teen Think Tank project from her perspective.
Thanks, Matt. And it was a great tee up, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, I really have two hats. So hi, everybody. For those that don't know me, as Matt said, I'm Aisha Desai. I have two kids in the school, three, sorry. One is Leah. Obviously, she's in 10th grade. My son, Samir, is in 12th grade now. He also participated this past summer. And then I have a 5th grader, Vinay, who will be a future Teen Think Tank participant. And so, before I get into the part about, so the role I played, I think it's kind of important to understand, why I came on this journey and how I came on this journey to be here. I really was from a personal perspective, looking for a space where I myself could make an impact. Just from a career perspective, I work at Johnson & Johnson. I support all of our early stage research development deals, and we work a lot with healthcare inequities and trying to bring really transformational technologies like the COVID vaccine, like the Ebola vaccine, like HIV drugs, et cetera, accessible to folks, right? And it's such a huge issue, and diversity, equity, and inclusion is such a big piece of, our corporate agenda, at J&J to make an impact. And so, as I searched for opportunities, I really struggled with the existing opportunities that were out there. A lot of them were just canned. They didn't seem genuine. They really didn't seem to be, a fit from the perspective of really tackling what was needed now, and was actionable. And after the first time I spoke to Matt and Kelly, I shared with them I had two goals. One, which was, I myself was looking for a space where I can make an impact and bring that back to J&J. So bring J&J knowledge to Teen Think and vice versa. But then I also quickly learned it would be a great opportunity for my kids. And especially in a world with everything going on with COVID and being virtual, the biggest benefit was that the three of us got to do it together. And as parents of high schoolers, there's very few activities that all of you can do together. So, the fact that, the work that I'm doing with my career lines up with the work, that Matt and Kelly and folks are doing was a happy coincidence. And I think it worked out. But regardless of what your career is, you can bring a lot to the table, and Teen Think Tank is, in a mode where they're on the forefront of change, and they could use our help and our voice. And so I'd encourage parents to volunteer as well, to find a place to help, and even bring experts in. I mean, I by no means am a healthcare expert, and can speak like to a podcast around healthcare, but what I'm learning is that there are ways that I can contribute. And I eventually do think I will get myself enough up to speed to be able to speak about some of these issues, not as eloquently as the three kids just did, but hopefully, I can do that. And what I'll share with you, from the perspective of being a parent to these kids that are, in high school. And I'll speak to Samir first, who's my current 12th grader. He is, eyeball deep in college applications, and the opportunity this has provided to differentiate himself, to stretch his thinking, his leadership, to come across in a college essay or a college interview as somebody that's working on something from, essentially side by side with Matt and Kelly from the ground up, figuring it out as you go, leading as you go, having access to experts, in these industries, being comfortable communicating. You get more than your traditional experience, whether you're on a debate team or, kind of doing Project UN or, all initiatives which are important, I think, can help supplement. But in terms of this being a unique, opportunity, I fully support that notion. And for someone like Leah, who, try not to embarrass her, but she's really always been a person that's, been a change agent. And so I think for a program like this, she really has taken to it. And I think, I could see her pursuing a very successful career in social advocacy or law or, communications. It's really, really broad. And I think that the confidence that comes from this, really is tremendous. And there really is such a strong push for the kids to be independent. As Jared said, there's so many ways that you can go with it. You get to stretch your creativity, you get to, build your confidence, you get to communicate, you get to interact and network with folks that build lifelong relationships. And I encourage kids to talk to me as well. And, if those connections help, I'm happy to make those connections. So I really think it's an amazing network. It's very genuine, very unique. And, I could see myself, if Matt and Kelly will have me, continuing to work with them for the next, 30, 40 years, even, just because I really think this is going to be, a great program that evolves as the needs of the country evolve.
Well, Aisha, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. When you run a program for high achieving teams, you don't get to interact with parents all that often, because parents of high achieving teens, I'm assuming, often assume that their high achieving teens are out achieving great things and aren't necessarily acting as helicopter parents. So it wasn't until our second or third cohort that I even met a parent of one of our alumni. And once I started to talk to those parents, I realized why that was, because they have great faith in their students. They have great faith in their teens, and they know that not only are they using their time wisely, they're using it for seizing opportunities of self-empowerment, academic betterment, professional development. And we take that responsibility very seriously, that if you as a parent are trusting that your student is off doing something that is positive, we want to make sure our environment is a positive environment, that they can achieve the things that you're trusting them to do. With that said, I'd like to talk just a few minutes about our environment, about what our program is about, where we've been. Right now, Kelly and Bernadette and I are just a couple talking heads on a Zoom meeting. But in order to understand who we are and where we're going, I'd like Kelly just to talk a few minutes about where we've been and how we got there.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. And for our alum, amazing as usual. You still blow me away, and I don't know why I'm always surprised, but you're brilliant and articulate and confident individuals. And every time I hear you speak, I'm reminded what a privilege it is to work with students like you. I'm going to go off script real quick because Jared, oh my gosh, something you said resonated so much. So in my free time, I'm an adjunct professor in a political science department in a local college. And what you said about citations rang so true, because I just went through this with my students. I have 30 students in my class, and I think one of them understood citations well enough where I could overlook some punctuation issues in the bibliographies and the footnotes. it was a challenge, and they did not come out of high school, or if they were in high school in an advanced program, they weren't to a point yet in high school where they understood citations, and you can't do academic research without it. So I pivoted my lesson plan, and we spent 90 minutes talking about academic research and citations. So Jared, as you go on into your brilliant academic career, I hope your professors, especially in the first year of college, really appreciate your grasp of citations. They might hug you and celebrate you because that is not the norm, at least from what I'm seeing in my classroom. So you make me so happy that that's a nerd coming out in me, the citations nerd. Thank you so much. I'm glad that resonated. Okay, back to script. So we've taken, as we've built the Teen Think Tank Project, we've taken the concepts of major think tanks, they exist all over the country, and adapted them into a format that engages exceptional high school students and not only helps them develop a subject matter expertise, but also prepares them to be effective and confident agents of change. And we do this through, excuse me, 4 main areas. Number 1, the think tank is student-centric. We know that students want to have a voice in the world, yet so often their ideas and concerns are dismissed simply because of their age. But we believe students' voices are valuable and can contribute to making a difference. And so we are all about elevating and strengthening every student's voice. Second key focus is we provide students with critical skills that not only create a foundation for excellent academic work throughout the cohort, but also so they can become highly effective members of society. To do this, we focus on 4 pillars that make up our core curriculum: leadership, communication, decision-making, and research. And Matt and I have found 2 things to be true. Many of our peers lack these skills, and it's not entirely their fault. Professional development skills really aren't taught as part of school curriculums. And there really are very few opportunities to proactively learn these skills, yet they're a key part of success in the workplace and in society. The other thing we found to be true is students who go through the core curriculum have more confidence and produce stronger academic work. So these 4 pillars are infused into all of our cohorts. The third key area at Teen Think Tank Project is we consider ourselves to be peers. You've heard this mentioned by Matt and by our alum. There's no Mr. DeSantis, there's no Miss Nagel. We don't separate students from professionals. You've heard Matt refer to Jada, Leah, and Jared as our colleagues. It's true, we're all working alongside each other as colleagues with a shared interest in bettering ourselves and society. So our students, whom we refer to as research associates, learn from, interact with, and network with professionals and thought leaders. And finally, we elevate students' voices through content creation and publication. So over the course of 12 weeks, students research and develop policy frameworks to address real-life issues. We tackle complex societal issues in a safe environment where intellectual curiosity is encouraged. And then we have our research associates present a 90-minute virtual event at the conclusion of the cohort. This is to peers, teachers, administrators, colleagues, community, people who have given their time, our thought leaders and experts throughout the cohort attend, and they hear our students' voices. Not only that, students' work is published and viewable by the public. So we're not just elevating their voices within a small cohort, we're elevating students' voices within their community and our network. And this content can be used for college and job applications or as a foundation for future academic research. You heard me mention 12 weeks. So each cohort runs for 12 weeks and is led by a Teen Think Tank Project research coordinator. So myself, Matt, one of our team members. We only enroll a maximum of 12 students per cohort. And when I say cohort, we're focused on one topic like financial stability or racial inequality in sports. We have health equity, climate change, multiple cohorts running at once, but no cohort has more than 12 students. Students engage in 36 contact hours over 12 weeks, during which time they interact with experts, thought leaders, and are offered content exclusive to the think tank. You heard about some of these thought leaders from Jada and Leah and Jared, like Professor Bruce Waltock, who's an instructor at Kean University and a highly respected expert in decision-making. Connie Whitman, a sales and communications expert who you've heard mentioned several times this evening, and her presentations just have a profound effect on every student who's been a part of a cohort. Another friend of the think tank, Catalina Rojas, who's with PCD and Global. It's an organization dedicated to connecting social change agents to careers. Our research associates have found great value in talking to esteemed professionals and then counting them as a part of their network. And we follow this same platform, whether we're working in our traditional 12-week extracurricular model or we're adopting the program for a school setting. So for example, we've worked with students in a condensed session, like we did this summer with a 6-week education program in New York. We also adapt our model for full marking periods or school years when we're embedded into a curriculum. But regardless of the format or model, core curriculum, inclusion of thought leaders, and the opportunity to publish content doesn't change. Our mission doesn't change. Our focus to elevate students' voices and help them become effective agents of change does not change. So happy to answer questions. And Matt, I will turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Cal. Appreciate that. Let's stop right there. There's, like I said, I could go on forever talking about the program and what we do and what we believe in. But I want to know what you think of the program, what you believe in, what questions you have. So I'd like to open it up to questions with the bit of remaining time that we have and see if we can suss out some more information that'd be helpful to you as a student, you as an administrator, or you as a parent. Any questions? All right, good. Well, I get to get the last few minutes and getting to some information that I didn't think that I'd be able to introduce at this point. However, based on some recent emails and conversations that I've had today, all of the deliverables, all of the program content, all of the pieces that we spoke of and that Kelly documented are valid and relevant and part of our program. Everything that Jared told you, everything that Jada told you, everything that Leah documented is baked in to our programming. It's baked into our offering. That's what you get. However, we're a student-centric organization. We are built to meet the needs of the students. So over the last year, give or take a few months of our existence, we have listened to the students, and the students told us, yes, we love the opportunity to come together to solve problems. We love the opportunity to connect with thought leaders. We love the opportunity to meet professionals that we normally would not meet, but we also want some more. And we want the opportunity to dialogue with one another. Well, we've created that. We've built that into our curriculum. We're not simply a weekly message board, or we are not simply a gathering of current events chat. We have given time and mechanisms and space for our teammates to get together and to create the conversation that they want to be having. We provide the Zoom rooms. We provide the Google Classroom infrastructure. We provide you with the source material and the textbooks and the access to podcasts that you may not be able to get elsewhere. In addition to that, we heard that 100% of our students are college bound. Whether they have graduated our program and are in college already or have identified that they are heading to a 4-year degree at some point in their academic career. So we instituted relationships and conversations with college campuses. And we are currently working with 2 New Jersey State universities to introduce a collaborative research program with the Teen Think Tank. That's 2 New Jersey State universities who approached us and said, we looked at the work your group is doing, and we want to be part of that. And I said, I think our research associates could benefit from that. So let's figure out how to get that done. Our research associates are prepping for college. We provide them with letters of recommendation. We provide them with access to college admission counselors. We provide them now with access to career development counselors on campuses of college. Community service is a very big aspect of our research team's academic careers, because the majority of our research associates are honor students, if not National Honor Society students. Therefore, we have developed a community service aspect of our program. We are trying to develop test prep resources for our students to take advantage of, all understanding that becoming a college student, becoming an agent of change, becoming a socially conscious professional is not only a global undertaking, it's a lifelong undertaking. And if we are going to be teammates, if we're going to be colleagues, if we're going to be members of the same society, then it's the least we can do is to provide our students, our research associates, with access to as much as they need, as many tools as they need to succeed on that journey. So, with that said, are there any questions? How do you apply? That is a wonderful question. That's a wonderful question. Here's the thing we need to realize about this program specifically, is that we are a competitive program. Okay. We don't have discernible metrics that we look for. We don't say you need a minimum GPA or you need a certain course track or an academic portfolio. We need to see that you are exceptional. And here's how we do that. Here's how we do that. The first thing that we ask is that our program participants commit. We don't care what they commit to. We care that they are the type of people who are committed to something. It's a lesson that I learned way too late. It's a lesson that a lot of my colleagues, I can tell, learned way too late, that the idea of committing and developing yourself to something was lost on them at an early age. That commitment will change over time, I promise you that. But the skills you need to be the type of person to commit will not change. We ask that you do some research, look around, see what other options are out there. All students have potential. It's the students that find the best opportunity to access their potential are the ones that are going to succeed. Those are the students that we look for to enroll in the Teen Think Tank project. Once you've done that, apply. teenthinktankproject.com. Specifically, teenthinktankproject.com/student. That will bring you to our current course offerings. There will be a link to the application there. Interview This is something that most students who did not proceed to completion with our program probably missed, is the opportunity to have an interview to support your application. They're not required, but it's the best way for us to identify exceptional teams, is simply talking with them. Whether you know Jada, Jared, or Leah or not, it doesn't take long to understand that they are exceptional. And you can figure that out simply by talking to them. So we think interviews are very important. Then, based on the strength of that application and that interview, there are 3 paths that our students typically take. Is that they are accepted, they are offered an opportunity to supplement their application, or they are given some feedback on how to increase their potential and probability of acceptance into a future program. Then once accepted, you enroll. Okay, it works very much like college applications. We work on a rolling basis. Once that cohort is full, applications and enrollment stops. And then finally, be awesome. And keep being awesome. That's all we ask of our associates, is be exceptional, be awesome. Do the things that it takes to become a better student, a better person, and a better member of society. And they will have everything they need in order to succeed, whether in this program or beyond. Again, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Don't hesitate to get in touch. And Ms. Denard, we will be in touch soon.
Yes, thank you.
And
Have a good
Jared,
evening, everyone. Yes.
Jada, and Leah, thank you very much. Aisha, we appreciate you all.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.